sir. The kind of man that I would be a rugby fullback. I find touch, she finds touch, we both find touch together. We'd be alright in the middle of the night, finding touch together. If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir. The kind of man that I would be a wing three-quarter.
Okay, we missed you guys last Wednesday night. Studio upgrades kind of held us down. We did not have any kind of initiate the contact. So here we are off of a week hiatus, back in the flesh. Stephen Murray, the coach, Dayle Runner. This is your coverage of Major League Rugby on the Deep End Broadcasting Network. We are live just after 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got a lot to get into, Coach. We have insane stuff happening in Major League Rugby. We're going to get into all of that. We're going to go down on the farm, and we will discuss the agony of defeat down on the farm.
Oh, boy.
Well, let's get to it right off. We may have a guest pop up. You never know if someone pops up down the road here. But let's get to it. You guys went up to North Bay. You guys had a great season going on. You're getting ready to kind of fill me in on details. I told you to hold. Let's go on the air. Let's just hear it. You took the trip up to Aberdeen, Maryland. Big expectations. You guys come up short, but still a fun season. You guys did and accomplished a lot of things. I don't think Newport News can hold their head down for anything that happened. But go ahead and sum up what happened up there in Newport News at North Bay in the playoff game, Dayle.
Okay. Good evening to everybody. And Steve, yeah, it was this season it sort of spoiled me. Okay.
Right.
And then I got humbled. But
there's always a bigger fish in the sea, Dayle.
Yes, there is. And as competitive as I am, I take losing to heart. You know, if you accept losing, you should never compete. But you take it in stride and you learn from it.
You learn from it and you capitalize. Yeah.
So, like I said, I want to give thanks to Johnny Law, Mark Fisher, my two assistants, okay? Without those two guys, we'd have never been able to do what we were doing. They did all the fundamentals with the backs and forwards. I did all the conditioning. I know all the players love me for that. We came up with a game plan every week. You know, it's sort of humbling. I asked all my players to give me 3 things that we need to do to improve on a team. I told them to give them that Tuesday night. I'll write them down, and we'll go over them on Thursday. Oh, Lord, they really humbled me on these things, I'm going to tell you. Excuse me. So
it's allergy season still here in Virginia, man.
Serious, man. It's crazy. It's the worst I've ever seen.
Well, honestly, Dayle, I mean, I thought it would be gone by now because we started so early, and then the rain came through, and I got an inch of yellow on my truck immediately. I'm like, how is this possible?
No, it's crazy.
But go ahead.
So we're going to just go basic right now before we go to Down on the Farm after the MLR segment.
Yeah. We're going to talk the agony of defeat later. That's a good subject.
I just want to give North Bay credit. Okay. That's all I can do. And
did you have a beer with our boy up there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And he actually played. He got in the game there.
Okay, nice. Good for him.
And you know what? They gave us a lot of respect. You know, rugby scores can get out of hand because it's make it, take it.
Right.
So, but we'll get into all the situational stuff and how we lost the match and what have you. One thing about coaching, you can never learn enough. You might have athletes over teams. You might have more rugby knowledge than other teams that have better athletes. Rugby is a different game than any other animal. I'm just trying to tell you. So
it's 15 people, and every little subtle movement matters.
And just think about it. You as a player, whatever position you're playing, you really only need to do what you need to do. You know, outside the fly half and the, scrum half, everybody else pretty much has their basic stuff they need to do, to be honest with you. And it's a learning curve for coaching and players. And I picked up 3 things in this match that I probably knew unconsciously, but now that I saw it, I can put it across the team. Because sometimes you got to teach elementary stuff to the whole team, even if an older player knows it. You need to have all your basic players, your younger players know that stuff. But
so interesting you say that, Dayle, because Steve Lynch, who won a championship at Clemson, who was my former teammate.
Oh yeah, Steve, front row, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Wingnut was his nickname, and so he was all Army.
Yeah, I
military
know.
team.
I played with him.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, he said this that they simply won because they were just better at the basics than the other team, setting the ball, form tackling. It just really was the remedial stuff that is the difference in winning a championship and not winning a championship. So it's interesting that you say that. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, it was. That's basically what it was. They were better at fundamentals. We definitely had the better forwards, and we did what we were supposed to do in the forwards, but we didn't take advantage of our situations. And when we turned the ball over, they took advantage of it. And I'll get into all that later on in the show.
Okay, yeah, we'll get into that. All right. So a tough break for Newport News. So what's next on deck now? Is it the old boys, young guns?
So we got. So on May 6th, we're playing Seven River at home.
Okay, so a friendly match there.
Yeah, they're the team that lost to North Bay in their playoff.
Maybe that's the one we can come do a live broadcast.
Yeah, and
have some fun with it.
Right, that's on the 6th of May at home at Crittenden.
Okay,
and then of course the annual Old Boys Young Guns that I've been running since 2005. I do it every year.
I need to get this knee right, man. And
we're trying to get, we want the Washington Patrons to come down. All the guys from Richmond to come down, Norfolk Old Boys, it doesn't matter. So what we do is we do depends on how many show up. 2 or 3 times we've been able to run 440s out there.
Right.
You did that one, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we try to do. And then we'll do our social.
Unfortunately, that year for the old guns, we had the less numbers. We were trying to get the younger guys to get more time. So we had to spend more time out there. Okay, so that's a lot of fun coming up there with you guys. All right, let's get into the Major League Rugby stuff.
Yeah.
We've been off a week off the air here. Dayle, I don't know if you watched any of the games or kind of even were able to pay attention because you were on the road, you were busy. And a lot of the games did happen there on Saturday. Mm-hmm. But, man, did we get where is the defense in this league this last round? Let's go through the scores just so you know if you guys are out of the loop. That's our goal here, is to try to keep you in the loop of Major League Rugby. But San Diego, right off the bat, they have to be the best team in the league right now, as far as I'm concerned, at least in the West. Yes. That really tough West. They're the one who seems to be the cream of the crop after beating Seattle last week. They beat Chicago handily, 48-24 there. So San Diego really strong. Any thoughts on them so far, Dayle?
Oh, yeah. They I remember I told you I picked them over Seattle.
Right.
They only won by
3. Yeah. That was a good game, too.
They won by 3 there. Yeah. But Lord have mercy, they got a 124-point differential in 7 games. That's pretty damn good, actually. I mean, so yeah,
they have a 124-point differential right now.
Yeah.
And they are first place in the West with 35 points. Yeah, 7-1 overall now, San Diego.
Right. So they beat Chicago pretty handily, 48-24. That's just basically, I just believe their fly half and scrum half are better than the rest of the team. And they just know.
And that defense, too, Dayle. I mean, right now they sit with they are the team that has allowed the least points in the league.
Right.
So when you're scoring points, which is the most of the league, and you're allowing the least points, which
you're going to win
the best of the league, then there you go. That's going to be top dog.
That's right.
So, but that just sets it up for the excitement of can they carry that on through the playoffs once we get there, right? Yeah. You always got to prove yourself in the playoffs. In fact, maybe we'll talk a little NHL too, Dayle, right before Down on the Farm.
Okay.
Because I know you have a good take on the NHL playoffs and the physicality that kind of compares to rugby.
Right.
In a sense. All right, other games last week. Let me get back to that.
What about Old Glory, man?
Well, yeah, the team you hate, Dayle, the local team that you can't stand. Old Glory 42 in Leesburg, Virginia, beats the New York Iron Workers.
Right.
42-31 in another high-scoring game. 73 points scored here.
Are they getting it together now? I mean, is their offense finally coming together with that?
From what I was able to, I would say this. I think this is the week I was able to watch the least amount of Major League Rugby. I try to tune in the most that I can.
Right.
I will say this. There is some very nifty play calling going on, scoring some of these tries. And I feel like the weak side is really being exploited a lot. I mean, you start with 2/3 inside the pitch on the scrum down, which, if you're smart, you kind of don't set that off-balanced back line. You still put your whole back line to the strong side. You throw your weak side wing out there in that one big open space, and then you try to flood that big zone just sneakily. And that's what I feel like these teams are doing. They're getting the 8-man around a flanker. Next thing you know, you have this weak side with about 15, 20 meters, 25 meters of space, okay, between the scrum and the set piece, and then the sideline there, touch line, right?
Right.
We're calling rugby. All right, but then next thing you know, the offense, after they win the scrum, and it's by design, and this all is because of the feeding that's blatantly allowed here nowadays, which is kind of sad. But these players know that they can peel off their positions and kind of get that step. Next thing you know, you got quick hands going down with 5 players on the weak side. You went from 1-on-1 to 5 on 2 or 3 by the time the defense recovers. But that's what I saw. Like New England was able to exploit that really well in their blowout win.
Right.
We'll talk about that. But the scores that I have seen, I feel like that there's definitely been a lot of weak side scores, and there's been some really pretty offloads too, and support.
Right.
I mean, anytime you can support, don't watch, run with the ball.
Yeah,
and you can call, and your boy's going down, and he can kind of give that little flip pass up to you, all right, and keep the momentum going. Then I think we were just seeing a lot of that, and I don't know, man. I mean, sorry to say, I don't want to say this about rugby, but the pussification of America and how to really hit somebody, Dayle, I used to thrive on wanting to tackle somebody. Let me set the line. In fact, if we can get back, this is almost a down on the farm segment type of deal. Yeah. But we're playing a game down in Wilmington, the Falcons, and we were playing Camp Lejeune.
Okay.
And we're at Cape Fear. So it was a round robin, Cape Fear, Camp Lejeune, and Virginia Beach. Doesn't that sound like fun? It was.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of fun. So Fear beats the Falcons pretty good. And then the kind of the B side of Virginia Beach, which was me at that time because I'm an older player or whatever.
Right.
And some, players who come out there and we're playing a tough Camp Lejeune team. But what do you think when you see a big forward-oriented Marine team, Dayle? Like, these guys are going to just try to bust it up the fringes with their forwards, right?
Oh, yeah.
So be ready to embrace the contact and have fun with it. So what I would do is this, knowing that they were going to try to blitz the edges with their offense, is I would put myself on defense. I'd put myself at the first post off the ruck. And I would take a step back or two. I wouldn't sit right there on the defensive line and wait for him. I actually took a step back or two. When I saw that ball going out, I was almost like a kind of a blitzing linebacker.
You're charging
and I met the contact before I met the line.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
And now my coaches criticized me in the past because I'd be getting called off sides. And I always thought that was a sneaky maneuver to kind of step back a couple paces.
Yeah.
And be ready to embrace the contact and welcome it. And you get so many cheers when you meet that guy running with the ball head on. And I don't know if we're missing that in Major League Rugby or not, but I don't know if I can tell you one other quick glory story. I mean, penalty to this is on the This is on the Pole Green Park fields.
Pole Green Park
at the James River. So 4 or 5 fields, lots of teams watching, tournament style, whatever.
Right.
So it's a penalty to the other team, and you kind of hope that the cadence of the offense is just kind of off. If the guy running the penalty play, the guy tapping it through the mark, kind of just doesn't know what he's doing when he's doing that, you can take advantage of that, and that happens.
Sure.
So the kid taps it through the mark, kind of holds the ball. As soon as he taps it through the mark, I'm there. But I know he's going to dish it to a guy. I know he's not going to hold it.
Right.
So I'm beelining to the guy I'm thinking he's going to pass it to.
Yeah.
He doesn't pass it to the guy until I'm like within 2 feet of the dude. As soon as he passes it to him, it was the biggest collision ever, the longest scream, because I took this guy's lungs out. I took the air out of his lungs. I hit him so hard.
I like that.
And the ball ricocheted because he never had full control of the ball when I hit him.
Oh,
the ball ricocheted about 40 meters diagonal backwards.
Oh, okay.
And when I got up to shake off the cobwebs off the ground because the hit was so hard, I saw nothing but people jumping up and down on the sideline from the hit. So I think we're missing some of that in Major League Rugby, to be honest. I mean, here we go. Utah Warriors in Seattle, 41-35 Warriors. My boys winning again, Dayle.
You like that?
I like that back line. I like the big man in the back line. And that's the thing. The stout Seattle defense is now allowing tries like they're going out of style, kind of. And our Utah boys are great. So look at this, Dayle. At the top of the standings there. San Diego, 35 points. Seattle is third now with 29. Utah, 27. So Utah has put themselves in that mix with those top 3 teams now that we were talking about a couple weeks ago. And Houston's consistent as well. 33-21 winners over Dallas. I don't know. Go ahead and talk about Utah. Go ahead and talk about Houston if you got any thoughts on them.
Yeah, I was watching I watched the replay, believe it or not, of the Utah game, right? Where they beat Seattle.
Yes.
And I was really impressed by their tight 5. I was like, it was like they came in, and we call it the bow and arrow effect. I learned that term from this Scottish guy when I played over at Holy Lock a couple of times. He goes, "You got to have that bow and arrow effect, man. Send it straight through the arrow." And I'm like, what does he mean? So if you think about it, you got your arms straight back, the 2 guys in the middle, because when they come up, it's outward, and then they come in. But what he's saying is you keep it in there tight, as long as them hips are together, you can drive straight back. You can drive them straight off the ball all day. Our team did real well with that this whole year. So Utah, man, I like the way they're doing that, man. And I tell you what, man, you knew what you were talking about when you got them, because right now, man, they beat San Diego later on. That could set it up for an interesting title game there, huh?
Yeah. And, we have a full slate of games coming up this weekend. We'll get into those in a minute. Of course, that's the game, Dayle. It's Utah and Old Glory. Yeah. So we're talking about 2 teams who put up a combined 83 points last week playing each other this week.
Yeah.
So that should be fun. I believe that's in DC. We'll get there in a minute.
Yeah.
Now let's recap the rest of the games. We only have a couple more to go. We talked about Houston beating Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas finally got their win. They're playing hard. You got to give them credit, though, Dayle. They're playing these teams. They're not getting blown out. They're playing these teams at least competitively, right?
Yeah, they're good for 60 minutes.
Right, yeah. Maybe they make the 1 or 2 extra mistakes or 2.
Right, I think because they don't have enough depth at practice to take them over the top, if you get what I'm saying.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many people they have out there, but I'm just guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see by the way they're playing.
They're almost there. They've got to like tweak it a little bit more. Maybe they got something going.
Right.
That's the way I feel about them.
Yeah. So that's sort of like ATL at rugby.
Right.
Atlanta rugby, they beat NOLA Gold.
They beat NOLA. NOLA, I think, that's a disappointment for NOLA. That's another fun team we've been kind of rooting for. We'll have to get Doc back on here, get the state of NOLA down there.
Yeah.
Doc Irie, the prop for the Gold, who's been on our show before. We'll have to check in with him. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a strong second half of the season with guests. People know that.
Yeah, definitely.
The producer of our show, which is me, is dealing with severe family health issues. Not to just throw that out on the air like that, but that hurts a little bit in terms of show prep here and there.
That's okay.
But we're gonna get there with some good guests here.
Mhm.
So Atlanta with a good win over NOLA. And Dayle, dude.
New England.
They hung 50 in the first half, 50 plus in the first half. Toronto could get third try. I mean, it doesn't matter when you only score 5 versus 80.
That's one of those games we've all been in them, right?
We've been in them. I've lost 80-5 a few times.
Well,
sure.
The worst loss that we ever took. I remember me, Johnny Law, Scott Miller, George. We played the Fijian Marines over at Boulevard Park, and they had the British Marines with them. So all the forwards were British Marines, and the backs were these damn Fijians, right? Man, they were running around like they were just.
Have you ever lost by 100?
No, we lost 9.
I've lost to 100 one time. That's the one thing I never wanted to do.
We got beat 95-20. It was 34-15 at half. So that was the first time I really got humbled on conditioning because I thought I was in shape until I played them dudes. And it was like 95. It was murderous heat. Them dudes were running around all over us. Man, I couldn't tackle fresh air that day. It was killing me. So, they beat us 95-20. I think one time we lost to Blacksburg. It was like 80. I think it was 81-23 or something like that, But we didn't take but 14 people up there on that game. That was when we were just social,
right? Like
97, 98. But we had a real good team in 2002 when we lost to this British Marines. We won the division. There ain't wasn't nobody beating them boys. I'm going to tell you that now. They were off the chain. And they schooled us. And then the next worst whipping I seen was we played sevens in Richmond this last summer. And they had this, I forget what the name of the team was, but they were from Wales, but they called themselves South Wales. Mm-hmm. So it's one thing when you watch it on TV, you really don't get a good view of certain things. So like when they kicked it off, this guy was putting it 35 to 40 meters in the air and back 15 meters every time. It was crazy, man. I mean, that just doesn't happen.
Right.
So that part of the game, the Americans don't have down.
Right.
So because we don't train on that when we're 5 and 6 years old. So that part of the game we don't have, and that's one of the many reasons why we lose to foreign teams. Because that day the closest match they had was to Richmond James River combined, and it was 60-5. And the only reason Richmond James River scored is because the guy threw it out to the outside, and the guy slipped. And the wing picked it up. He only had to go 5 meters. That was the only reason they gave up a try that weekend. We held them to 44 points, and I thought we did something.
Right.
I'm just telling you, man. This game's humbling.
I've been on those teams, too. I'm like, hey, man, they beat us, but at least they didn't beat us as bad as they beat y'all.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, it was crazy, man. It was like, so, once you start watching on the sidelines, Vice playing and coaching, when you're playing and coaching, you can't see everything. So I tell my players, I know they get aggravated with it, but once they start coaching, they'll see what I'm talking about. When you're coaching, you see more than what players do because they only concentrate on what they do. They really can't see everything. They might see one thing, but they don't see the other 5 or 6 things. So when I'm on the sidelines, I'm writing down all these things. Whereas a player, you got to play. You ain't got time to write down. So we watch all that on the sidelines, me, Johnny Law, Mark Fisher. I do all the writing down, and that's when I come up with our game plan. So like I said, I learned that from the sevens last year when I saw it. I'm a visual type guy, Steve. That makes sense.
Right, yeah.
I can read something or I can be taught on the practice field, but until I see it physically,
right,
it doesn't register sometimes, if you get what I'm saying. So one thing we had happen this last weekend, our 8-man, Jose, he ran sideways 5 to 8 meters. So against 8 out of 10 teams, he can break the tackle to the inside center and turn it up. But in this case, he couldn't do that. And that by that time, because if he runs 5 to 8 meters, their backs are at the gain line and we could never break it. So even though I might have known that as a player, I don't think of it in that mentality, if you get what I'm saying. So I learned that, and I taught that to all my players this last practice. So, somebody might know it, but they don't know how to put it out, if you get what I'm saying. So you have to put it out like first grade level so everybody understands it, because that's the only way you're going to get better. You can't put out New Zealand rugby when you don't even know
right.
Division III in Montana. You see what I'm saying?
You can't read Sanskrit when you don't know it.
That's right. Yep.
And New England, man, they throttled Toronto. Okay, how about this, Dale? Let's look at the games we got coming up. We'll take a quick break and then we'll come back.
Okay.
We'll do some down on the farm. And as far as point spreads go, if we want to talk some wagering on Major League Rugby, which we can. Hey, so the reason that's the thing. One thing, Dale. The reason I point out why all these games are so high scoring is that if you're taking some of these, if you're actually betting on this stuff and taking some of these super over scores, you're kind of winning a lot of money right now.
A lot of money on this.
Hey, if you're relying on no defense in Major League Rugby, so keep an eye on that. Maybe that's a good little trend here.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 1 point spread right now here on the board, and that's our first game. And I think that's probably why I think all the other spreads will come out soon.
Right.
I feel like they all come out on Thursday anyway, but we have one game on the board, and we'll talk about it. Saturday at 3:00, we have New England against Rugby Atlanta. Both teams coming off nice wins. New England, though, is a 10.5-point favorite. If you want Atlanta to win straight up, you can get almost 5-1 on the payout. But 10.5 points, I feel like New England's been pretty strong. Atlanta's been competitive, but usually on the downside of things, Dale.
Right.
This is the early game on Saturday at 3:00, no Friday game. I don't know. Do you have any sense of this one?
Oh, yeah. This is going to be
this has to be New England, right?
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen?
You love you some New England. You already said that on the show.
Yeah. So what's going to happen here is ATL Rugby is going to play New England close the first 22 to 25 minutes.
Right.
Because they got some good athletes. They run hard. But the problem they have is they're, and I know this sounds crazy, but if you start getting tired, you start making mental mistakes. In New England, they've been capitalizing on that all year. That's probably how they got 80 points on Toronto. Toronto was mentally broke down probably after the first 10 minutes, and then after that, they ran it right up in them. So I think this is going to be probably like close to the beginning, and then I see like a 38-17 game is what I'm looking at.
I was going to say something like 38-13.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
New England's got a great team.
Yeah.
They really are strong in pretty much all facets. They are the one team in the East that
can compete with the other boys.
And they are the only team in the East that is above 500.
Right.
A couple teams have 500 in New York and Rugby Atlanta, but Glory and NOLA are both 3-5. Toronto just 1-7. They got that one win earlier in the year. But yeah, when New England plays these Western teams, those are the games I'm going to be actually really wanting to tune into, because I think that's going to tell us a lot about how things may get settled here down at the end of the day.
Sure.
With things. So that game is on the Rugby Network at 3:00, and of course, all the games are free if you download the Rugby Network app. I put it on my Roku on my TV, so that's easy. It's just a click and a login one time, and I think it remembers you. And you pretty much click right to the game.
I think it's on NBC Sports Network too, isn't it?
NBC Sports regionally on the regional.
I got you.
NBC Sports Boston.
I got you. Thank you, sir.
Yep. But the next game at 3:00 will be on MASN and the Rugby Network. But MASN is the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, which is here in the Virginia area. So we can watch this. That is Old Glory and Utah. Dale, Old Glory's been nice. They've been superb in their efforts. I think so far. I think Utah's a little bit better class than me. This is now these two teams kind of remind me a little bit about each other, but Utah is, I think, a step above Old Glory here for sure. I would look for Utah to win this game. There is no point spread. I'm not sure what it will be at the end of the day. I'm thinking that they're going to make it about even, or even maybe Glory, just because they won last week, a slight favorite. And I think that's going to be the wrong move. I think Utah is easily a 7-point better team here. But let's talk about the Warriors and Old Glory. You've been hated on Glory in the past. We see the big man in that fast back line for Utah doing things.
Yeah.
What do you like here?
Well, I like, the scrum half for Old Glory is very talented. He's a New Zealander guy, but he gets like really irritated easy. So what happens is Old Glory all year gets down early. Then they got to come back. They're in probably better shape than most teams out there, but I don't know if you can keep coming back. Can you score early at all? They never do, it don't seem like anyway. So if they get too far down against Utah, they're going to lose because Utah's got their back line is off the chain on defense, man. They be getting to that gain line and dumping them boys a meter behind there, and that'd be putting them off sides, So I just got to go with Utah, man. I'm looking at like 31-14, something like that. I just don't think Old Glory can match up with them with their intensity.
Man, that's a fun game. If you're in the Virginia area, the Northern Virginia area, I'd go check that one out.
Yeah.
I had plans to go up there, Dayle, but I cannot leave the family situation at the moment. So I've had to bag them. Otherwise, I would put this on the agenda, to be honest. But that game is on Masson, the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, if you are local here, or the Rugby Network if you are listening around the world.
Right.
Okay, Saturday night also on the Rugby Network, Dallas and San Diego. In Dallas, that's the one good hope Dallas has for things here. But, as bad as we've expected Dallas to be, I still think they're a little bit better than that even.
Yeah.
Can they make a showing against San Diego Saturday night, though, Dayle?
I just don't see it.
Right.
I mean,
we're talking about the highest scoring team and the best defense overall in San Diego.
Dallas is going to play them tough at first, because that's the way they play. They get after you. They come after you full board. But I think they make too many mental mistakes.
They have a lot of Argentinians, too. I mean, maybe they can –
They make too many mental mistakes.
I have a feeling Dallas is one of those teams that's just going to be better as the year goes.
Yeah.
But this is a tough matchup here.
Yeah, I think they're going to make too many mental mistakes. And
I wouldn't be surprised to see Dallas getting a few more wins down the road here, like towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Because, they got some quick rabbits out there. But the thing is, they overrun. I seen the game against the one, it was 2 weeks ago when they won by 1.
Right.
They were overrunning on defense, over pursuing, which, I love aggressive players because you can always tailor those back.
Yeah, I had that discipline. But you can't over pursue.
But you can never bring an unaggressive player up. I've never seen it happen, because they think too much. And most times if you think too much on a rugby pitch, you're going to get screwed up. Although a lot of people say it's a thinking man game, but if you overthink, you're going to be down by 31 before you know it. You know what I'm saying? So I believe San Diego, the Legion's going to jack up the Jackals probably about 30 points.
All right, a trio of games on Sunday, 2 p.m. We'll start it off with Chicago hosting NOLA. So a good bounce back opportunity for NOLA here. And, if Chicago thinks about it in this way, look, we put up 24 points on San Diego last week, the best defense. That's about as good as anyone's done all year.
Yeah.
And NOLA's coming off a loss. I think we can win this game. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Dayle, how do you see this?
Man, I think the Hound Dogs are going to carry that gold and win that game. I'm looking at
I feel like this is a game they could win at home.
23-17 is what
I think it's going to be. Yeah, I can see it close.
I don't see no high scoring or anything like that. So I'm looking at 23-17. This is one. Whoever's at home on this one more than likely is going to win it. Not just because when you travel a lot of times, you don't notice it when you get there, but once you start playing, you're not mentally into it. So I'm looking at Chicago to win this at home. So.
I think we could see a lot of points in the Glory in Utah game. I even think we could see points in the New England Atlanta game. I agree with you there. This could be a lower scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this could be a lower scoring game too with New York and Houston. This is on Fox Sports 1. So this is your Fox Sports 1 coverage at 2:30 on Sunday afternoon, New York and Houston. I expect this to be a good test here for both sides. If New York is legit and wants to further themselves greatly here in this rugby campaign,
right?
Major League Rugby 2023, this is a game that they need to win, to be honest. Houston, on the other hand, I feel like if they win, it's almost business as usual. This is just the kind of Houston's a bad matchup for anybody.
Yeah, they are. New York plays pretty good defense, but they look like they got exposed in the last game.
Would you be shocked if this game was 12-8 or 12-7 or something like that? You know, I wouldn't be.
I wouldn't be. But see, because last week New York gave up 47. So, but the previous 3 games, I don't even think they gave up 55 total.
Right.
So,
and there are those games that just get away from you at times
because it's make it take it, which
right.
People don't understand. That's a basketball term. When you play basketball and you make it, you get it back. In rugby 15, that's what it is, make it, take it. So a game can get out of hand. You can have a tight game, 10-point game, and the next thing you know, it's 30 points. So a lot of people, man, you got waxed. No, not really, but it can get out of hand. So especially at lower level rugby, it can get out of hand. But this one right here, I'm looking at Houston to win this. I think they're just a better team, and I'm looking at a 28-20 win.
Yeah, I think Houston wins too. I think it's going to be a little lower scoring. I think 21-13.
Okay.
Something like that. So we'll see. Last game on the board, the Toronto Arrows. This will be on the Rugby Network. Dayle, poor Toronto. Seattle's coming off 2 losses in a row. Is this not like defeating to the Lions? I mean, right here, Toronto after losing last week like they did.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's any lock of the week in sports or not. I had no idea what this point spread would be, but I would not be shocked if Seattle comes into Toronto and lays 50 points on them and wins this game by 40 points or so.
Yeah.
What do you think?
One of my favorite sayings is them boys got waxed like a high school gym floor.
Yeah.
Because they're going to lay that buffer on them and they're going to wax them boys all day. So I'm looking at Seattle.
That's good. This might be I mean, we haven't seen a triple-digit Major League Rugby score yet, I don't think.
I'm looking at
not this season anyway. Maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't recall a triple-digit score.
65,
man, could this be it?
65-14. I'm being conservative probably because Toronto might be the worst club in the league.
I'll say this: Seattle hasn't scored. You know, they're almost upper middle tier. They're like a B team as far as scoring points. So that may be.
I tell you,
that may be something that holds this from being a triple-digit winner. But they've only allowed 159 points on the year.
Yeah.
The only team better than that is New England and San Diego. So Seattle has that defense. Toronto, how many points do you think they've scored on the year, Dayle? We're talking the 8 matches played.
8 matches. I want to say 145.
105 points.
Oh, my God.
So that averages about 15 points, not even 15 points a game. That's like 13, 14 points a game.
That's crazy.
How many points do you think Toronto has given up this year?
Shoot. How many games? 8, you said? So,
yep.
Boy, I'm looking at 375 to 4.
You're close because they are by far and away the worst team as far as allowing points. 281 points they've given up. In comparison, Nola's given up only 195. Old Glory has only given up 232. Rugby Atlanta 194. And then, you know, San Diego's the top dog at 140. We talked about them.
Yeah.
But even like a team like Utah as 207. Dallas only 201. points allowed. So Dallas actually
They got a good
a little
defense.
bit better there.
They just can't score.
But Chicago, even in their expansion year, 249 points.
Okay.
And still 32 points better than Toronto. So Toronto with a minus 176 on their point differential.
Woo.
This could be ugly.
This could be ugly.
All right, let's do a couple picks. I think the easy lock of the century is Seattle, right? I don't care what the point spread is. I don't care what it's going to be. I'll lay the points with Seattle when it comes out.
Okay.
And I'll pick one more game here. I'll take our boys Utah again. How about that?
Okay. So you're gonna take Utah.
And I'm going to take Houston. I'm going to take 3 games for you this week.
Oh my
Take
Lord.
Houston, Utah,
Wow.
and Seattle, all on the point spreads.
All on the point spread.
What do you like?
Well, my lock of the week is going to be Chicago over NOLA Gold.
Yeah, that's a good, interesting pick. I like that deal.
And then I'm gonna take Old Glory to cover against Utah because it's probably 10 to 12 in that. I think Old Glory can cover because they started showing some.
They may get a lot of points. They actually may get a lot of points because the West may get favoritism here. It's going to be interesting to see what the line is when it comes.
Yeah,
out.
because they're 6-2 out there and they're coming here. So, sometimes you take your first long road trip, maybe it might.
I think it's going to be less, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right, sir.
We'll see. All right. How about this? We'll go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back and do Down on the Farm. All right. So Major League Rugby, 8 weeks in the book. And fuck me. I mean, we still have May and June and the rest of April. We still have a lot of Major League Rugby to go before we figure out things here at the end.
Yeah.
So a lot to go over, Coach Dayle. All right, we'll come back. We're going to discuss the agony of defeat here on Down on the Farm. We need to sulk. We need to go in the corner with our heads down and our towels. We need to realize how we pick ourselves up out of these terrible, dire situations and how we move forward. All right, we'll be back right after this.
Adam said he can do it if you wanted to. You want to Yeah. He said he can jump on real quick if you want to.
Get his number,
Patio. Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty
5 minutes?
of professional services.
10 minutes?
From pressure washing
8:15,
to window
Tell him we'll
cleaning,
call him in. Tell him we'll call him. We'll talk
as well
agony
as
of defeat
dryer, vent
for like 5 minutes, then we'll call.
you
Eight-
got
Tell him
it.
like 10
I'll
minutes.
say
Call
8:25.
Coastal Pressure
What's his
Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at Coastal Pressure Washing.
He was running the fucking horses out there.
Tired of your swimming pools.
Let me check on the pizza. I think it's probably.
Pool filter,
Oh, okay.
constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water. I thought this was supposed to be clean. Rust. Your
Leg
swimming
sore.
pool, water quality,
Man,
with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 77354-5517. Do you want to advertise with Deep End Broadcasting? Send us an email at deepend757@yahoo.com. That's deepend757@yahoo.com.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. You're behind the wheel. You may think you're fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
Family owned and operated, CP Shuckers Cafe and Raw Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid laid-back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff at CP Shuckers will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal food. We are open until 2 a.m. Full menu will be served in fresh and late night limited menu until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give your location of choice a call. Pacific Avenue, 757-425-8676 or Shore Drive, 757-412-2929. More information at cpshuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shucking good time. Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter, the constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water? I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
If I were the marrying kind, which thanks the Lord I'm not, sir, the kind of man that I would be would be a rugby scrum half. I put it in, she put it in, we both put it in together. We'd be alright in the middle of the night, putting it in together. If I were the marrying kind.
All right, this is Initiate the Contact. I am Stephen Murray, back with the coach, Dayle Runner. This is the Down on the Farm segment. And if you can notice, I'm writing down a number of a guest, Coach Dayle. All right, so we'll have a late arriving guest. We thought we may. How about that?
Yeah.
We'll have on Cowboy from James River, who has our boy Adam Floyd, Cowboy, from James River Rugby, who has a big playoff matchup with Raleigh coming up. So let's talk about that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But let me talk about this, Dale. The agony of defeat. You're a head coach. Your team's huddle up on the sidelines right after the game. What did you tell them?
Well, I obviously I was very upset at, because we lost in the fashion that we did lose. I was upset for my players, my coaches, for the whole organization, because I looked at two things. I looked at, for one, in 1 year we got farther than I thought we would.
Right.
Then secondly, we got humbled because we made some mistakes that if we'd have changed them around, it could have been a different outcome, to be honest. But
it doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much
to
in rugby.
swing aside, yeah.
But I want to give North Bay, credit for everything they did. They, the referee was very good. He called more penalties on them than us. That didn't hurt us. But when we lost out, we had 13 knock-ons. We got stripped 5 times. 7 times inside the 22, and 5 of them they took it the other way and scored. That's where the difference in the match was, because really, so in rugby, once you start losing, you start getting out of position, especially in lower level rugby. So what happened was 2 things, right? Our forwards were mentally tired there once we got behind, and they weren't thinking like all the stuff we've been practicing, post and pillar. And then our backs started coming in, and they were getting out of position. We were getting exposed out there, all that kind of stuff, right? So it was everybody, there wasn't one player on the team that did make 2 or 3 mistakes, and I want to give them credit because they tackled very well. They met us at the gain line. They did well with that. And there's a few things I just got to correct and have John and Mark put it into action in our backs and forwards unit segments at practice. But it's going to be hard to beat North Bay. You can beat them in the forwards now. You can push them down the field. But one thing about it, they don't make mistakes. So as far as like tackling.
So they can make a deep run?
Yeah, they can.
Okay, cool.
The way
isn't that gratifying to know, though, when you lose
Right.
to a team early on, you're like,
Yeah.
damn, at least this team went very far that I lost to, you know?
Right.
If it wasn't for them, maybe we could have gone farther.
Right. So what they're going to do is they're going to tackle well. So they're going to meet you at the gain line. They're not going to make mistakes like that. The only way you're going to beat them is their forwards are going to drive their forwards down the field and not turn the ball over.
Right.
It's almost like you got to keep the ball in the back foot of the 8-man and take it down the field and just keep doing it until you score. And then play 10-man rugby instead of trying to, spin it out and all this garbage, and try to be fancy and get cute. And then you end up getting burnt. But no discredit to them, man. They played well. But like I said, I want to thank Johnny Law and Mark Fisher, my backs and forwards coach. Me and John been doing this stuff for 28, 30 years, whatever it is. We've been going at it. We were both disappointed, but we're being optimistic for the future. And we all got to learn coaching points, and our players have got to learn playing points, because there's this little stuff we got to get fixed on this rugby acumen. You know what I mean? The IQ of the game a little bit better.
So here's the thing, Dale. I think that, once the season ends, a lot of people just kind of move on with their lives, whatever. I don't get that same feeling with you. I feel like this is another step you need to take to make things right for your team down the road. That, and obviously you won't have maybe the same team. You got people coming in and out all the time. Teams are it's always a new team every season, right? No matter what the sport is.
Right.
But this is more a transition step than a forget about it. We'll see what's up next year, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm just, I've had a lot of people who left the team, and now that they see that we're doing well again, they want to come back. So I welcome anybody that wants to come play with us. We're trying to get us 2 teams. So this loss humbled us, but at the same time, it's going to make us better. And my job as the head coach is to make sure that we do get better. And I've got to learn a lot of things, because one thing about rugby, you'll never know every drill. You won't know everything about this game. And as far as the way you present it to your players, you can hear a guy say, well, the reason we lost was because he didn't tackle. You hear all these guys on the sidelines, these so-called rugby experts, they sit on the sidelines, they say this, say that, but, they're not coaching or whatever. And, so I got too much pride to let this game, let me just say to hell with it, not keep going, because I was frustrated the other day at that match, and I ain't gonna lie to you. But I learned some things from it, and we're going to coach it, and I'm going to make sure we get there. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm not going to, like I always say, I'm not going to waste my time unless I'm trying to win the whole thing. If I want to play around, I go in the backyard with Lady and Cisco.
Right.
I want to win the whole thing, and I want my team to have the same attitude, and that's what I'm trying to breed.
How fast, how about for Miss Lisa's, your beautiful, lovely bride's sake? How fastly do you try to turn the page so you're not taking this comfort home with you? You know what I'm saying? Do you try to turn the page pretty fast at the homestead and back to business as usual? Or is there a little bit of moping around the house there?
Oh, no. My wife is the biggest supporter of rugby. She does.
Is she moping more than you around the house? Is that a question, I guess?
Yeah. At the match the other day, she gave me a hug and kiss and just said, don't worry about it, honey. You're doing a great job. And, she lifted me up, and, she does a lot for the team.
That's great. Yeah.
She'll awesome. Get online, order shirts, does a lot of work for me, I keep full attendance. I keep dues, all this stuff. But
it's a needed position. Every team should have someone who does that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. She helps me out on all that stuff.
It's not an assigned position either. Usually people volunteer themselves kind of for that. Yes. But, man, it's so important. It's so important.
Oh, my God. It helps out so much. But, eventually, as a head coach, you're going to have to give up. Like, I'm the president also. And, we have our elections on May 20th on the Old Boys Young Guns Day. And, we need people to, take over, because I want to just head coach and everything. I love running the club, but we need other people involved. And that way I don't have to do as much. And that way it'll make us much stronger, if you get what I'm saying. So, yeah, it was a tough loss, but I'm going to go up and watch North Bay play on the 29th in Richmond at Dory Park. And right now we're getting ready to see if we can get Adam Floyd, the Cowboy, on the line. He plays for James River. They're playing Raleigh.
This Cowboy?
And
This is Big Steve. What's up, man?
we want to get him online because
Hey, man,
he's a
hey,
great rugby
I'm gonna
player.
plug you into the studio. We'll talk to you here in a second, okay? Stand by.
So, yeah, like I said, I want to get Newport News to the next level where we can go to regions every year. If we can go to regions every year, then it's going to promote the sport in the Tidewater area. So, anyway, now I think Adam is on the line, isn't he?
I would say I would say he's a busy man. Okay, so joining us here on Initiate the Contact with Coach Dayle Runner and Stephen Murray is our old friend from James River Rugby, our man Adam Floyd, known as Cowboy, who Coach or Dayle. Let me tell you this. So I tend to. I'll mix it up if I have to on the pitch or whatever. I'm not out there provoking nothing, okay? And here I am in a line out, and I'm just out there doing business as usual. I'm just trying to be a part of my line out. And here's this guy on James River, Cowboy, screaming, "Steven, you got this, Steven? You got this, Steven? Steven, do you got this?" I'm like, where the hell is this coming from? I love the man to death. He's done charity events with us in the past with the Godfathers that we did on the beach for Nita Meyer. And he is, I mean, you talk about a guy who keeps murdering too. He gets younger with age. He never gets older. We're talking about our man, Adam Cowboy Floyd. Cowboy, what's up, dude? How's it going?
What's up, man? How are y'all?
We're doing fantastic.
What were you doing out there? You got the farm out there in Richmond. What were you doing out there tonight, right? You're moving the horses?
I've got a new horse I'm working, trying to train and get ready to, I guess one day take my kids around. So,
so that's it. So you just try to get the horse to be gentle to be able to put the kids on there and stuff like that.
Yeah, just basically training and breaking a horse and getting to where we can ride him and work him, and probably something I don't need to be doing while I'm playing rugby too.
How many acres do you have?
We've got right around 110 acres.
Hey, this is which side of Richmond is this?
I'm in Chesterfield, so I'm closer, like southwest, kind of southwest of Richmond.
110 acres.
So I grew up there, Adam. What part of Chesterfield? You out on 360 or 60? Which one you out on?
I'm closer to 360. I'm on River Road, almost at Amelia.
Yeah, I know where that's at. My dad's old boss, Tate, had 800 acres out there on Tate Lake.
Oh, yeah, I know the Tates real well.
Yeah, Jimmy Alva, Tate, and all them. My dad worked at Tate Lumber Company on Belt Boulevard.
Okay.
And I worked there in the summers for 5 summers. And my oldest brother, he worked there like 20 years. Yep.
Yeah, the Tate sold all that land, most of it.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be developed here soon, unfortunately. But
it seemed like it used to take 5 hours to get out to that joint.
I can tell you, I've been playing for James River for 19 years, and every field we play at is 45, 50 minutes from the house. So.
Let me ask you that, Cowboy. All right, one, I want to go back. I want to know how you started rugby, who got you into rugby, what your first game experience was like. Tell me all about that. But also, I have big dreams myself of seeing me owning hundreds of acres, and on those hundreds of acres having like a rugby compound and complex. Do you have any aspirations of building some kind of rugby field on your land?
I would love to. Unfortunately, where we're at is just not the land is super rolly. It's not a lot of flat land.
Oh, okay. All right.
Trust me, I'd love. We got to play in a place in Leavittsville up near Leesburg one time, and it was a guy in a neighborhood had a 10-acre lot. He had a rugby pitch, probably one of the prettiest pitches I've ever played on, right in his backyard. He didn't even have a kid playing. He just loved the game, and he built the pitch and let all the teams around, rent it out and play on it. And he'd sit on his back deck and watch every game that was there. So,
oh man, that's awesome.
I now that I'm nearing the end of my career at some point, I'd love to be able to sit on my back porch and just watch a game.
Yeah.
But I started, I guess the way it all started, my dad started playing for James River back
Right, yeah,
in,
your dad. That's right. Yep, I remember that.
Back in 1974.
Oh,
He was the first historian to ever play for James River, or he was the first historian James River ever had. So I've got the original history book for James River, all done on a typewriter. I still hold possession of that. And so I've been, from the day I was born, I've been wearing a blue and green jersey my whole life. So he died in 1987. I was only 2 years old when he died.
Oh man, sorry.
Sorry to hear that.
And when he was sick with leukemia, the old boys, James River old boys, they, definitely rallied around our family and the whole group. And
Wow.
while Dad was sick in the hospital, Don Bridges, back then it was,
Right.
you had the Rats, you had Richmond Rugby Club. And
I
you had
remember
James
the
River.
Don Bridges
Oh, yeah.
Fund. Yep,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. And Don Bridges played for the Rats. And they brought him over to James River. He was a young guy at the time, and they were playing the Rats from what I understand, and they went into a scrum down. Back then, there was no crouch, bind, set. It was all, you lined up, and when you were ready to go, you just went. There was no cadence, nothing. And they went in and butted heads, and Don Bridges broke his neck, and to this day, he's the longest living quadriplegic on earth. And when that happened, one of my dad's last dying wishes was to see Don Bridges in the hospital, and he got to see him. Thereafter, he passed on, and the old boys from James River have been amazing. They had a dance every year and a golf tournament every year, and half of the money they raised went to me and my brother's college fund. The other half went to Don Bridges' medical fund. And to this day, we still hold the golf tournament, and all that money goes to Don Bridges. So coming up, it was always a want to play the game. It was always a desire to play the game. And the only team I would play for was James River, obviously because of that. The devotion that the old boys have given us and our family, and I owe it back to them every day I wake up, really. So I bleed pretty deep on the blue and the green. So
You sure
I've
do.
had opportunities to play other places, and obviously with Capital Selects, I've gotten to play a lot of different places, wear different jerseys, but my home and my heart's right here in James River. So, and it's been started in 2004, February 8th, 2004 to be exact, was my first practice, and our first game was against Norfolk Seaside, and I was scared to death. I was playing wing at the time, and I don't know, the first time I finally got to hit somebody, it just took the fear right out of me, and I've just loved it ever since.
Man,
That is an awesome story, isn't it?
Dayle, Coach Dayle, I never thought I'd get a little. This is my first career tier on our initiate the contacts here on Deep End Broadcasting. Man, Adam, you've had a great career. I mean, let's just talk about that for a minute. Like you said, 19 years. You've seen it all at this point. You've seen new players. You play with seasoned veterans. You play with the Capital Selects, and you're an integral part of that as well. We've had Coach Porter and Alex Deagle on our show before, who played with you as well. Yeah. But can you imagine when you started rugby that you have all these experiences that you've been able to have? I mean, just think about all the, you show up, you kind of go play a game or whatever, but man, it is so much more than that in life. Go ahead and talk about that for a minute.
It is, there's been times, and I know I've seen the struggle, especially in D3. I've seen practices where we have 8 guys, not just one night. I mean, you might see it 2-3 weeks out of the year. You're only having 8, 9, 10 guys at practice. You're trying to make something of it.
We've all been there. Yep.
Yeah. And so it's always been tough, I guess, to develop. Luckily, I've been able to surround myself with some pretty good rugby players over the years. James River's always had a pretty solid team for the most part. Recruiting's been a really big part. Paul Dunn, Brisket, he's done wonders for our club in the last, 12 years, recruiting people. And, that's been a really big thing for most clubs, is just recruiting enough people, getting the talent out there. The sport has grown tremendously in the 19 years that I've been playing. Obviously I missed out, on the major league scheme. I got to play a few with Capital Selects, Houston, NOLA, went up and scrimmaged against DC and made the team to go to New York. Had emergency surgery the day before we flew out, but got to play Mexico's national team in Mexico City, and we traveled to Ireland and Wales and played over there. So I've definitely gotten to play at all different levels, and to see where the game is going now it's growing quick and fast, and I'm loving to see it.
So much so that we have a Major League Rugby podcast, and that's how much it's
Yeah.
growing. We're able to
That's
discuss
right.
Major League Rugby here.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and
go ahead, Adam.
go ahead. I would love for y'all to have Quentin Newcomer come on one night.
We
You know,
can.
he's one of our players, for James River during the regular season, and now he's at DC. So played for New England for a couple of years, and now he's playing at DC. So
Yeah, that'd be a great ad. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
We'll
definitely want that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
so what's great is so I love your story. Like you said, you bleed the blue and green and everything. I'm the same way with Newport News.
that's right.
And me and Johnny Law recruited me. And, I had opportunities to go play other places. I was just like, you know what? I just want to play, hit people. I might not win the national title. I might not do this. I might not do that. But I'm a very loyal person to my team.
Correct.
So what I try to instill when I recruit players is I try to get them out there. If I can just get them out there for one practice and then one match. And then after that, I can do my magic, if you get what I'm saying.
That's right.
So it's not easy. The reason teams fail, and you know what I'm talking about, you have nobody doing off-site work. Everybody just thinks, everybody will show up, man, we'll just have a team and we'll do this. It don't work that way. You know what I'm saying? So,
No.
So that's a good story you have with your man talking about recruiting players. And you know what? You can't get enough players. I heard one time a guy goes, man, we got too many people out here. I said, where's that at?
That's right.
Tell me where that's at. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, and we're actually seeing. It's the first time in my years of playing since since Richmond has joined forces with us, and we're having 50, 60 guys at practice. And that's a different ball game. And then we're having full on games, and our scrum down practices. They're full scrummages. We haven't hit a sled, and in the last pretty much 2 seasons, we haven't hit a sled. Everything, but it's all live.
Let me ask you that, Cowboy. Like, have you embraced? So how about this? It's the same old song and dance. Maybe the act wears thin a little bit. You become a veteran player. Like, okay, I'm cozy. I'm going to start. I can kind of take it easy and practice a little bit. Does that, with all those players out there now, does that rejuvenate you a little bit? Does that give you a little extra shot of adrenaline? Or is that something that you just naturally have no matter what anyway? I know everyone's wired a little differently, and you always have that one player who's going to bring it no matter what, 130 million%. And I know that's you regardless. But does the fact that you see all these other players out there at practice, does that jolt you a little bit?
Yes, it's definitely. We've got some younger guys that we recruited out of college, and that we've got a really good hooker that plays right there with me, and he's just as talented, and he's younger. So it definitely makes it. I got to work a lot harder now. You're not guaranteed that position. You don't just walk out anymore. And, you're putting that number 2 jersey on every week. You got to work for it. And there's other guys that are finding that out now too. And, the fall season's when it's really going to hit, because that's when that's when we become one as a SIP roster. and there's some solid players all the way around. There's some guys that are coming on from Richmond that are going to be absolutely in the running for a starting division, for our A-side matches. And, we got some younger guys that are growing every day of practice. I mean, it's going to be interesting in the next few years. I mean, we've got some really good talent out there. And our coach, he's phenomenal. We played, he started a couple games. He's capped 4 times for USA Eagles. And, the time he puts into it, watching video and coming back. And this past weekend, West Pot beat us about a month ago by 1 point.
I saw that.
So we traveled up. Yeah, we traveled kind of light up to that match. Apparently, I didn't actually make the match either, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But they got us out of our game plan, and we had a lot of injuries, kind of littered with injuries in that match, and they beat us. At the end of the day, it didn't matter if they beat us by 1 point, they beat us by 100, they beat us. And we came back. We had a lot to work on, and the coach really dissected that film, and he put some things in place. And I don't know if y'all saw the score this past week, but it was 73-7. And
yeah, I saw that. Wow. I saw that.
They scored their only try literally the last minute of the game.
That's the opposite end of the spectrum right there, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think they expected it.
No, they probably not. They probably thought they were going to have a cakewalk.
Yeah, I think it was going to be a little different game for them. And we came out, we played the patterns, we played what we do at practice every day, and it just everything came together.
So for you listeners and viewers out there, if you don't know what we're talking about, with Adam talking about all the extra players, so James River and Richmond Lions did merge together, correct, Adam? That's what happened at the end of the day. What was at the end of the day? What was the main reasons for that just happening? Was it a numbers game for Richmond? Was it let's just get the best, strongest side together of the area? I mean, 2 proud franchises. What was the ultimate decision in merging that? And what are you guys maybe trying to do to preserve the Lions' legacy and make sure that's not forgotten?
Yeah, and those are all great questions. It's it's been. Once again, we go back to 19 years ago when I started playing rugby, and back then you had Dayle and some of the other Richmond old boys. They came out, and I was 19 years old. I didn't know no better. It was 2 weeks into practice, and there were 7 guys waiting in the parking lot after practice, and they're like, you Adam Floyd, and I said, yeah. But, hey, we're so and so from Richmond Lions. We like to, at the time it was United Rugby. We like to take you out to dinner. Talk a little bit. I was like young and naive. I didn't know no better. Hell yeah, free food. Let's go. And they said, well, we know with your history, you're going to be the one we need to convince to merge these 2 clubs together. And I told them then, even with my little bit of experience, I said, I'm not going to play for another team. It's going to be James River. I'm not playing.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. That's
and I stuck to my guns. Yeah. And I've stuck to my guns for so many years. And I mean, it's been on and on. We've been trying, we've had some guys from River want to do it. We've had some guys from Richmond want to do it. I think it kind of came down to a competition of, recruiting. Once again, Brisket's done such a great job recruiting. I mean, we kind of overpowered them for a while on that. It came down to a numbers thing, more or less, especially in the last year. And, the bad blood and the old rivalry, it's still deep in my bones. But there's not a whole lot of guys, newer players,
right?
Either from Richmond or James River that understand that or feel it.
Right. That's so old days past.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of, no offense, and I tell the guys every night of practice. We could practice. We could be scrimmaging at practice, and you bring a whole set of Richmond jerseys out. I'll never put one on. It's just,
No, I hear you, man.
It's just me, but once again. It's been a little different practicing with the guys. The first couple of weeks were like, it was tough on me. Probably not as much on some of the younger guys, but I've really come to play well with those guys, and I think we bonded really well, gelled really well together. As far as the history, for their club, I think the board that they've got currently is for Richmond. I mean, they're doing a pretty good job of keeping the old boys involved, and I've noticed that more of them have been coming to games. We saw some new Richmond guys, old boy faces this past week, and I think the transition, it may be a little tough for them at first, seeing everybody just being James River now, but because we are staying with James River. But, I don't think anybody's going to let the Richmond history and what that club has done for, 60 years, almost 60 years go to waste. I mean, it's just
right.
We'll always remember it.
Just for my sake, I'll say maybe throw on the throwback jerseys once in a while, except for you. You play beside that game.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about some things, doing some different things, commemorate them and remember them. And
okay,
I think we'll always still have that Friday Night Lights game. We just had it not long ago.
Yes, we saw. Yep, saw that.
Yeah, and Richmond came out. I mean, they came out firing on all cylinders that night. I mean, they put us in our place pretty quick in the first half. And I think once again, I mean, great coaching by Ben and just on the high level of practices we've been having.
I think this makes you stronger for sure. I think it makes the Richmond rugby stronger.
I mean, we put up a really tough match against Potomac Exiles. I really think we should have beat them. We kicked away a lot of opportunities. We put up a really good match against Norfolk. I don't think Norfolk had all their pieces to that puzzle there, but we still.
I saw y'all beat them. Y'all beat them handily. Y'all beat them on conditioning, and y'all were in better position and everything. Y'all tackled well. I watched that match. But another thing, we have the Old Boys Young Guns game every May. We're doing it on May 20th this year. Now I know you guys are in the playoffs and everything. You got Raleigh this Saturday. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. We'll talk about more of that in a minute. Go ahead.
And then, so we want all you guys, any guys that want to play a match, a friendly. We do that every year. Like we do like 440s. Anybody that wants to come down, and I'll put it out on the pages. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And I want all the players to come because I'm trying to promote us to the next level. We did real well. We were undefeated, and then we lost to North Bay. And me and Johnny Law trying to change the club around, if you get what I'm saying.
That's right.
So we're working on some things. It's not easy, believe me. But we've been having 30 to 35 at practice.
That's awesome.
So I'm trying to get us to where we can get 40 to 45 by the fall. So I got the shipyard at my exposure right here.
It sounds like you need to talk to Brisket. I guess I have a couple of extra techniques there, Dayle.
I don't know what Brisket. I don't know what he's got up his sleeve, but he's done a really good job.
We'll get him on the show too. I'm friends with Paul Ross too. I think at the end of the day, so
I know Paul.
We'll get him on here. He'd be a good guest for sure.
Yeah, I don't know him as Paul. I told him one day, I said, man, look. I said, you don't even look like a Paul, man. What is that? They call me Brisket. You don't even need to say anything else.
That's a funny dude right there too. Now
he is. And he just, so what he's done for the sport of rugby in the Richmond area is amazing. He's
you gotta give him props coming off a big knee injury as well.
Yeah. I mean, his work ethic's been. I mean, and to see him go down with a knee injury, it really. Yeah, I told him right before it happened he was playing the best rugby I ever saw him play.
Right.
He was carrying the ball 6, 7, 8 times a game, and putting meters on the board. He's a big boy, but him power lifting at the same point. I mean, when I had him and Quentin in the front row with me, and there weren't many packs that were going to even remotely handle us at all. We've got an engine room behind us with Calvin Story and Cole. Those two guys are two phenomenal locks, but losing Brisket to that knee injury was tough. And having him back out there now, he's out there now. He's not pushing it. He's playing it safe. And but to see him back out there, I didn't know if it was going to be a career-ending thing for him, but he stuck it out and he's recovered the way he should, and he's been just slowly bringing it back, and he's putting some time in on the field at the same point.
Right.
But good to have him back. He's a big powerhouse to finish the games out.
Yeah, that weight room is a savior because I'm gonna tell you that's the reason I'm able to still play like 45 and over and play these games because of the weight room. If I didn't mess around with the weight room, I wouldn't be able to be out there, man. That's been my savior my whole life.
Yeah, Steven, I'm gonna tell you this real quick. I played my first old boys match not long ago. Dayle was out there, and I didn't know what to expect. I rolled out there, and this team came from up north, and they had a guy up there. He had been in the 70s, and I give him credit just for going out on the field. But Dale's always been a tough bastard to play against. I've always, he's always been a tough hand to wrestle, and
thank you, sir.
we got out there playing, and that poor old bastard got the ball, and Dayle didn't let nothing. I mean, he unleashed the beast on that old fella, man, rolled him up. And I looked over at my buddy Dustin, and I said, "Look, man, if that old man runs to me, I'm just going to have to let it go. I can't hit him like that." And Dustin said, "Well, Dale's like 61, man, so I think he's got the pass."
Yeah, he's in the same category. He's allowed to do that. Yeah. I feel you.
I like Dustin, too. He's funny because I met him. I remember the first time I met him was at the beach rugby thing. And I poached him, right? He goes, "Man, you can't do that." I said, "Was there a whistle?" He goes, "No." "Well, I can do whatever I want."
He's been that old boy's match stirred him up because he's ready to play some more too. I really enjoyed it. It was a good time.
That was a blast, wasn't it?
Man, Cal, we're gonna have to have you on in the future for sure, man. You're a great interview. Hey, so let's talk about Raleigh playoff match this week. And Raleigh, I mean, that's the Richmond of North Carolina. That's the way I've always thought of things. It's the big metro area. They've had a lot of talent. I played those boys before back in the day. Obviously, that's different teams from years on past, but it's the same old song and dance. They're the Raleigh Vipers. They're going to be a good team. It's going to be a good test for us. What is your mentality heading into this?
I'm going to go into it blindfolded. And I think the rest of the team is too.
Just play your game. You guys adjust to us. Let's see what happens, right?
That's right. I mean, we watched a little bit of film on them, and Rappahannock's been a really solid team all year, and they actually played them twice this spring already, and beat them both times. So for Raleigh to come back up here, drive back up here, and beat them by 2 points really says something for Raleigh. Obviously, something's changed for them. We played them twice in the fall. I actually didn't make either game for other issues. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they've got a couple solid forwards. Looks like they're kind of a more pack dominant team. I'm not sure that they have the conditioning that we have. I look for us to keep playing our game. We like to go up the middle with some of our big forwards, and then we'll spin it wide, and we'll probably work the field on them a little bit, see what their conditioning is like, and then see where the game plan takes us from there. But I don't suspect it's going to be an easy game by any means. We didn't come in thinking we were going to beat Westport the way we did. I think we just came in there looking to battle, and we played damn near perfect rugby, in my opinion. Our defense was phenomenal, we were putting a lot of pressure on them. They didn't know what to do with the ball and in those kind of situations.
Right.
We've been really working on our tackling and not missing tackles and just putting, laying a big stick to them first, making them a little nervous to get the ball next time.
Give it a little time to be decisive, make good decisions, etc.
That's right.
Is this a quick turnaround? If you is there a game Sunday too? If you guys win Saturday or even lose Saturday?
No. So the winner of this match will go on to the Super Regionals.
Okay,
which is at Dory Park, right?
Correct. Which we're hosting the following week.
All right. So that's what I was thinking was. So it's actually game in Richmond here, right? And then again at Dory Park if you win next. That's nice. That's nice. You had everything's in your backyard, right?
Yeah, we had the opportunity. It came up not long ago for the opportunity to be able to, I guess, put our bid in for the Super Regionals match.
Right.
Tournament, and I was like, guys, any chance you get to do it, do it. And so we put in for it, won the bid, and now we're having the opportunity to knock on that door and play in our own home court. So
there was one time with like the sevens tournaments and everything included, like the Capitol was begging people to host these kind of events, and I've always passed it off to the Falcons, like, hey guys, we got to do this. We can host this, we can make money. Yeah, blah blah. Dude, we have the parks. We need to do this, and then they give it to someone like in Pennsylvania in the middle of nowhere or whatever.
that's right.
But yeah, that's good that you guys are proactive on all that and making sure you guys have a good opportunity there. What else you got, Dayle, for Cowboy here?
I was just going to say, I wish we were going to be playing with you guys, up there. We lost out last week, like I said, in North Bay. But we're going in the right direction. That's what we're trying to do.
That's right.
And, you got to take steps to get there. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing overnight, that's for sure. But,
no.
But we're going to get
and
there.
Old Bay is a tough team. I mean, we've played Old Bay.
They've always been good.
Times.
Yeah, they've been good for decades now, to be honest.
Yeah, they had.
That's right. I think they ought to be in a higher division, but
that's all right.
Me,
You know what?
Personal opinion.
I like getting humbled on the pitch because that means I need to learn more about the game. You know what I'm saying? And
that's right.
And everybody, if you can find me one person who knows everything about this game, please send him to me because I want to meet him.
That's right. It changes every time I'm on that pitch. I learn something new.
I know that's right.
All right, Cowboy. We'll let you go, man. We're going to wish you the best of luck this weekend coming up, man. We thank you for being on and initiate the contact with us. We definitely got to have you on in the future. You're funny. You're a great interview and a good guy. And of course, we need to have a beer with you at some point soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. If y'all come down anytime, let me know.
I miss you, brother. Hey, man. Can we just come crash the farm for a weekend? I mean, are we allowed to do that?
You know it, man. I'm always open for a good time at the farm. So.
Are y'all playing at Dory Park at 1:00?
1:00, Dory Park, this Saturday, and then I'm not sure about Super Regional. So
okay. So if you're in the Richmond area on Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Dory Park, you'll see James River and Raleigh play in their playoff match. So if you're in the area, go check that out. Cowboy, you're the man. We appreciate you coming on, brother.
Take care, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much. Good talking to y'all.
Be safe and good luck, all right?
All right. We'll see you.
All right. So Cowboy Adam Floyd joining us on Initiate the Contact to round things out. All right, Dayle, that's a full show, man. We went an hour and a half.
Yeah,
we talked a lot of Major League Rugby. We got Cowboy on. We're crying in the corner about your Newport News team still.
No, we're good.
A little bit.
No.
Good to go? Okay.
You know what? We're very happy with our progress and everything, and
Right.
I'm gonna get to their level because I recruit just like Paul does, and it's just a matter of time. Because, like I said, I have the whole shipyard at my disposal. 16,000.
We'll get Brisket on here. We're gonna have to pick his brain a little bit on
we're
this.
gonna get Paul out here because I know how he does things. But anyway, it's been a great time, and like I said, we're striving for the next step.
All right. Well, guys, that's it. We gave you our rugby picks for Major League Rugby. Again, I like Utah. I will take Seattle. We're both going to take Seattle. Everyone's going to take Seattle over Toronto. And I'm going to trust Houston over New York as well, Dayle. And you like Chicago.
I like the Hound Dogs, baby.
Over NOLA. Okay. We'll get some good guests on again next week. We seem to be doing okay with that on the fly here. A lot of fun with Coach Dayle. We still have a bunch of episodes left of Initiate the Contact. We'll wind things down for tonight on this Hump Day Wednesday. Everyone else out there have a safe week. And Coach Dayle, we'll be watching Fox Sports 1 with Houston and New York on Sunday. And then, hey, we get our fill with Masson, the team that you hate, Old Glory DC.
And one more thing I want to put out is
go ahead.
Old Boys Young Guns, May 20th at Crittenden Middle School in Newport News.
So what date is that again?
May 20th.
All right, I have time to get the knee right.
Yes.
Let's see if that can happen. We need to discuss this more.
Yeah.
Here. All right, for Coach Dayle Runner, I am Stephen Murray. We thank you for tuning in. This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network, live tonight from Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America. All right, good night, everybody.
Bye.
I'd go down, she'd go down, we both go down together. We'd be
That was a good one.